Hi, I'm a Japanese guy in my 50s. I have a dream of working and living in Malaysia in my later life. So, I keep a note of my findings in the pursuit of my dream here. This time, I thought of what would become of economic power relations between Malaysia and Japan in the latter half of my life with some data. First of all, I attempted to define what the latter half of my life is. Namely, how old should I assume that I can live in the first place? In 2022, I'm 50 years old. According to data recently released by the Japanese government, the average Japanese lifespan of men is 81.47 and that of women is 87.57 this year. So, I decided to think of my final age as being 80 to be on the safe side in this video. And this can be year 2052. Secondly, let's compare the population transitions of each nation. Before I narrow down regarding this issue, I want you to know one fact that currently Japan has been facing. This is a ranking of city population in Malaysia, and probably each city is still growing. Meanwhile, this figure is the population decrease of Japan in year 2021, and the decrease is prospected to expand at my age of 80. Can you just imagine the society that one major city such as Klang and Shah Alam disappear every single year? Besides, the people are getting older and older. This is what is happening here in Japan today.
Malaysian dream, lost in Hokkaido.
Anyway, let's get back to the original topic. This is the comparison chart of population transition between of the two nations. Japan experienced the first population decrease in 2005 and has kept decreasing since then. Even so, the Japanese population is still 3 times larger than Malaysians. And at my age of 80, the gap is prospected to dwindle at 2.5 times larger. As a summary, in demographical viewpoint, Malaysia is not going to catch up with Japan within a period of my life. But no worries, demography is just one factor. Today, I will mainly discuss economic comparison. In macroeconomics, we normally adopt GDP for comparison. GDP is a short form of gross domestic product, meaning sum of the economic value produced by the people within a year. Okay, this is a GDP comparison of two nations of the past years. As I mentioned, Japan constantly outnumbered Malaysia in population, and so does GDP. In 1980, Malaysian GDP was so small at only 1/21st scale of Japanese. Especially when Japan benefited from the so-called bubble economy, the gap between of the two became the most at 32 times. However, while Japan was struggling with last 3 decades, Malaysia showed steady growth, and in 2022, Malaysia has finally narrowed the gap to 1/5. But here, you might see a certain difference between of the two are still visible. So it doesn't seem to be fill the gap by 2052. But no need to jump to a conclusion.
Malaysian dream, lost in Hokkaido.
In economics, you should see things differently, more focusing on exponential transition. Another table. This is a line graph which indicates the transition of ratio of Japan GDP to Malaysia WAM. If the line is stretched out as the same trend, you recognize Malaysia will catch up with Japan by the year of 2040 to 50. Yes, I do believe that Malaysia is gonna overtake Japan economically by my age of 80. And this is the reason why I believe in the bright future of Malaysia. Let's dig deep into it. The next slide is about the same ratio obtained on per capita basis. GDP per capita means how much each individual created economic value. Here, you might find a slight difference of the curves between the one obtained from 2007 to 19 and the one from 1988 to 2007. In short, the slope is getting gentle gradually. So Malaysia won't reach the same level of Japan forever, like this arrow shows. But again, no need to worry. This is a typical phenomenon experienced among many middle-income countries. This point is well known as the region turning point that can be recognized when one country grows out of agricultural country. Also, this temporary stagnation is called middle-income trap. The country is required to transform the industrial structure to go on to the next stage. Generally speaking, there exist two assignments that should be solved to overcome the trap. And now I'll show you Malaysia has already got ready for it.
Malaysian Dream, lost in Hokkaido.
The first requirement is that Malaysia itself needs to have a large middle-income segment. In other words, Malaysia needs to reduce disparities of people's income. And the second one is that Malaysia needs to tackle with advancement of the industry. In a nutshell, should be more innovative to lead the world. Okay, the first one, growing middle-income population. In economics, for the measurement of income redistribution, you often analyze Gini coefficient. The smaller figure of Gini coefficient indicates that the more disparities of income reduces and the more middle-income class grows as a result. So, the smaller, the better. See? This is a comparison table that reveals Gini coefficients among 5 ASEAN nations during the period from 1970 to 2020. In 1980, Malaysia was a country which had serious situation of income gap among the people, and the worst of all. But over the course of years, Malaysia has been making a great effort to reduce disparity and showed significant improvement by 2020. So I can recognize that Malaysia has already sorted out the first hurdle. And then, what about the next one? Advancement of the industry. As for this issue, let me share the recent news that is about the global Islamic economy indicator with you. Reportedly, Malaysia ranked as top Islamic economy among 81 countries for 9th straight year. Global Muslim spending is projected to hit $2.8 trillion in 2025. The report compares economy worldwide in terms of innovation and the regulatory landscape as it pertains to Islamic law. See? It's done! In conclusion, this is a sign of transition from middle-income trap, and I forecast Malaysia would begin to record steady growth again and overtake Japan in the near future. Thanks for watching.